What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into something that's been making waves across social media and the hip-hop community. Pooh Shiesty just got released from federal prison, and Charleston White had some pretty interesting things to say about it. But more than that, we need to talk about what this really means for rappers coming home from prison, and whether the streets ever really let you go. So let's get right into it.
He fit a Bobby Schmurder. The boy fit a dance and have fun. They don't want to go back to the white folk know how to teach you ass a lesson. Them white folk know how to teach you ass a lesson. One thing about that white man, he know how to show it. You don't want to be bad. One thing about that white boy got a system and some methods that break it ass up. I bet them boys that. I bet he'll be. I'm telling you, come out and change it. That white man don't play. And he got their ass on what they call a probated sentence. Called probation. Get him, they call a PO. Them PO make them ass walk up. Straight line. They look at Mr. Pooh Shiesty. Pooh's not gonna be a problem at all, y'all. I promise you, Pooh is not gonna be a problem. Him, you know why? They got a probation officer. All these niggas need probation officer. Hey, the best thing the white man can do to it is give him a probation officer or parole officer. Y'all think these can be bad? I'm telling you, I'm gonna give them halfway out. Whether he halfway out, halfway in, or all the way out, the boy got a PO. And the PO got a supervisor. So I don't give a damn what he think he can do. That parole officer supervisor ain't friends with nobody. You can't bribe them. You can't give them no money. They ain't a fan of yours. They don't give a damn about the little small peasant, little bit of ass probation officer, half-ass liking you and being light with the condition stipulation. Let parole supervisor look over their shoulder and see nobody's complying. And the PO is letting his barely comply. You can get on back in there, boy. Smash their ass off that goddamn street so goddamn fast. I lasted a week on probation. That shit don't work. You heard what you said? You lasted a week. Obviously it worked because you in the comment section typing like a that done probation that don't want to do crime no more. You could be stealing with your fingers. You could be pulling the trigger with your finger. You could be robbing with your fingers. You could be selling dope with your fingers. Look at you. You over here typing with your fingers. Not bothering nobody, not breaking the law, none of that. Look at you. Typing. You should be a criminal. Now look at you. You should be a street. Look at you, street. Online typing with them Twitter fingers. Trying to sound bad, trying to look tough with your Twitter finger. Gangster used to be at, I used to do this. I done time. Look what you're doing. You typing it. You're Twittering what you used to do, street. You gotta be ashamed of yourself. You used to be a bad in the streets. Look at you, Twittering in the metaverse world. Pussy ass.
Pooh Shiesty, one of the hottest rappers to come out of Memphis in recent years, just walked out of federal prison after serving about 2.5 years of a 5-year sentence. He was locked up on federal firearm charges, and for those who don't know, federal time hits different than state time. There's no early release for good behavior in the federal system like there used to be. So the fact that he's home early tells you something about how he conducted himself behind those walls. Now, Charleston White, love him or hate him, came out with some commentary that's got people talking. And honestly, whether you agree with his delivery or not, he's making some points that we need to examine. Charleston's whole thing is that Pooh Shiesty isn't going to be the same person who went in. He's saying that the federal system has a way of humbling people, of making them understand that freedom is worth more than any street reputation or any amount of money. And look, we've seen this play out time and time again in hip-hop. Think about it. How many rappers have we watched go into prison, talking tough, building up this anticipation for their release, only to come home and completely change their tune? Bobby Schmurder is the perfect example. Before he got out, everyone was talking about how he was going to come back and take over the game. The streets were waiting, his fans were ready. But when Bobby finally got released, what did we see? A completely different person. No more hot boy summer. No more talking reckless, just a man trying to live his life, dance, and stay out of trouble. Charleston makes this point about probation officers and supervision, and it's real. When you're on federal probation or supervised release, you're not just dealing with some overworked PO who has 300 cases. You're dealing with people who have the time, resources, and authority to watch your every move. They can pop up at your house unannounced. They can drug test you randomly. They can restrict who you associate with, where you travel, and what you do for work. One violation, just one, and you're going right back to finish that sentence, plus potentially catching new time. That's the thing about federal supervision that a lot of people don't understand until they're in it. It's not like being on probation for a state charge, where maybe you can slide by, maybe your PO is cool, maybe you can work something out. Federal supervision doesn't play those games. And Charleston's right when he says that these POs have supervisors breathing down their necks too. Nobody wants to be the probation officer who let a high-profile rapper violate and end up back in the news. So they watch you extra close. But let's talk about the bigger picture here. What does this mean for hip-hop culture? We've got this ongoing tension between authenticity and survival. Rappers built their careers on talking about the streets, about being real, about living that life. But then they blow up, they make money, they get famous, and suddenly they've got something to lose. And when they catch a case and do that time, something changes. They realize that all the money, all the fame, all the respect from the streets doesn't mean anything when you're sitting in a cell watching your life pass by. Pooh Shiesty had one of the biggest breakout moments in recent hip-hop history. Back in Black was everywhere. His sound, his energy, his whole vibe captured something that people connected with. But all of that came to a halt when he caught his case, and now he's coming home to a completely different landscape. The game has changed, new artists have emerged, his momentum is gone, and he's got to rebuild everything while walking on eggshells with federal supervision hanging over his head. Charleston mentioned Young Thug.
Gunna was leading while they was in jail because Thug don't want to tell nobody who was paying for the lawyer. I know Gunna was paying for it, almost $200,000. Brian still ain't cheap. Thug finances were froze because it was tied to the gang Rico shit. That's why they just giving it back. Gunna got out and didn't talk. Bosses come out talking. A boss is selfish. That's why a boss got workers and employees, and their workers and employees do bad, and the boss do good, eat good, take longer lunch breaks. You know, he let them have parties and give them Christmas presents, buy them, let them keep the secret, may let them get a car in the lease name, but it's in the company name, so you get the tax write-off. He never, so he let the, you know, the boss is like a keep you on the yo-yo. You come back to him. The leader empowers you to go lead, so you can go build other leaders. So let me tell you,
another interesting case. Thug went through that whole RICO trial, and even though he's been speaking out about snitching and other issues, you notice how the content has shifted. The violence that used to be so prevalent in the lyrics, it's toned down, because once you've been through the system, once you've seen how your words can be used against you in court, you start thinking differently. Prosecutors are literally using rap lyrics as evidence now. They're building entire cases around what artists say in their songs. So even if you want to keep it real and talk about that life, you've got to ask yourself if it's worth the risk. And that's the question every rapper coming home has to answer. Do you go back to making the same kind of music that got you in trouble? Do you keep associating with the same people? Do you keep living that lifestyle? Or do you pivot? Do you find a way to maintain your authenticity while also protecting your freedom? Some people are going to say that if Pooh Shiesty comes home and doesn't talk about the streets anymore, he's soft, he's changed, he's not real anymore. But that's the trap right there. That's the mentality that keeps people cycling in and out of prison. Because what's real about throwing away your life to maintain an image? What's authentic about sacrificing your freedom to please people who aren't going to be there for you when you're locked up? Charleston talks about how people used to be in the streets doing real damage, and now they're on Twitter with their fingers, typing away. And he's mocking that. But actually, that's growth. That's evolution. That's someone who realized there's a better way to live. Yeah, maybe they were out there before, but now they're using their voice differently. They're still influential, still making an impact, but they're doing it in a way that doesn't risk their freedom or their life. The federal system is designed to break you down and rebuild you. It's designed to make you compliant, and you can look at that as a negative thing, or you can look at it as an opportunity for real change. Because the truth is, a lot of people in the streets are trapped. They're trapped by circumstances, by expectations, by the need to maintain a reputation. Prison, as terrible as it is, sometimes gives people the space to step back and see their life from a different perspective. Now, does that mean everyone changes? Absolutely not. We've seen plenty of people get out and go right back to doing the same things. But those are usually the people who end up right back in prison. The ones who make it, the ones who actually build sustainable careers and lives, are the ones who learn from their mistakes and adjust accordingly. Pooh Shiesty has a choice to make. He can come home and try to recapture what he had before, rapping about the same things, running with the same people, living the same lifestyle. Or he can come home and show growth. He can make music that reflects where he is now, not where he was. He can build a legitimate business, stay out of trouble, and actually enjoy the success he worked for. And here's the thing, fans will respect that. Yeah, you'll always have some people who want you to stay stuck in that mode, who want you to keep it dangerous and keep it real. But the majority of people, they want to see you win. They want to see you they want to see you beat the odds and come out on top. That's the real inspiration. Charleston White might be abrasive. He might say things in a way that rubs people the wrong way. But strip away the delivery and look at the message. He's saying that Pooh Shiesty has an opportunity here. An opportunity to do his time, come home and actually live. Not just exist, not just survive, but truly live and build something that can't be taken away by a judge or a jury. The streets will always be there. The lifestyle will always be there. But freedom, that's something you can lose in an instant and spend years trying to get back. So when Charleston says Pooh Shiesty won't be a problem anymore, maybe that's not an insult. Maybe that's a prediction of growth. Maybe that's acknowledging that someone finally learned the lesson. We'll see what happens. Time will tell whether Pooh Shiesty comes home and stays on the straight and narrow, or whether he falls back into old patterns. But if he's smart, if he's really learned from this experience, he'll understand that the best move is to protect his freedom at all costs. Make the music, get the money, but do it the right way, because going back to prison isn't a badge of honor. It's not keeping it real. It's just throwing your life away. Alright, that's it for today's video. Let me know in the comments what you think. Do you believe Pooh Shiesty will stay out of trouble, or do you think he'll end up back in the system? And do you agree with Charleston White's take on this? Drop your thoughts below. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll catch you in the next one.